Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to a Tuesday filled with question marks around your Buccaneers. We got college football rankings coming out tonight for the playoff. We have an opening at Auburn, which is very, very interesting. The Bolts are back home tonight to start a stretch of 9 of 11 games in November here at Amalie Arena. And we may have a little fallout from yesterday's discussion over the Rays as well. So welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Nick Geddes, good morning to you, my friend. You didn't get your pumpkin spice?
I was going to say, first off, before we go any further, before we go any further, I'm mourning the loss of a dear friend, a close friend that I've had many encounters with for the last 2 months.
Pumpkin spice?
Pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice. It's been replaced by peppermint mocha. Dunkin' Donuts.
November is good and all, but November 1st sucks.
Well,
the signage was all replaced with the peppermint mochas and the white chocolate cocos and all that kind of crap. I got 10-piece of Munchkin, and there was only one pumpkin in there.
Oh, the horror!
The horror. I mean, it's a sad day. The Bucs stink. I mean, there's just, what am I supposed to be happy about right now?
Well, from the ashes rises the phoenix.
Really?
Yes. So when the days are darkest, when there's only one little pumpkin munchkin in there, stand strong. Stand strong, because there are brighter days ahead. Christmas is coming. Thanksgiving is coming. Turkey, lasagna at my house, way better than turkey. All the trimmings. Gosh darn it, Black Friday's coming up. We can shop till we drop. There's so much good stuff coming up. Don't fret about your pumpkin. It'll be back in a while.
I vote for year-long pumpkin. Why is it seasonal? I don't subscribe to the theory, well, then I'm not going to appreciate it enough. Yes, I will.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes, I will.
Stock up. You can make pumpkin spice stuff.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. The Dunkin', it hits a little different. It's a little different. I'm trying, Jeremy. He says, hang in there, Nick. I'm trying.
I know. It's tough. I mean, look at Tom Brady. Look what he's dealing with,
Yeah, my situation's not even in the same.
I don't know. Pumpkin spice is important.
It is important to some of us out there.
I mean, just, losing your kids and your marriage. I mean, pshaw. When the pumpkin spice goes away, now we got problems.
What about my feelings, damn it?
Now we got problems. Yeah, right? Yeah, you count too. Should
I ask though, real quick, how was your Halloween?
Uneventful. Very uneventful.
I was always wondering, in apartment complexes, do we trick or treat?
Nobody stops by. Thank God. No, I miss it. I miss seeing the kids in the costumes. I was actually going to go over to a friend's house on Davis Island, where Tom Brady was handing out full-size candy bars, I'm told. Oh, like, how could he not? Like, how could you go to Brady? How would you walk up to Brady's house and not get a full-size candy bar? He was out incognito, I heard, with his 2 kids.
Yeah, he revealed that. He revealed that last night, too.
Which we're going to hear. We're going to hear on the podcast. So, no, it was very uneventful. I did no Halloween activities whatsoever. So there you go. The most I had was my Brady jersey yesterday. That was my costume. And that was about as close as I got to Halloween.
My antisocial self was in my house the entire night.
Yeah.
But I left a little bucket in front of the door.
Oh my
so
God.
I didn't have to see
anybody come by?
Oh yeah, the bucket was empty.
Oh wow.
They did their job. Take it all. You don't have to just take one. Take it all. They took everything.
But you did minis. You can't afford the full-size candy bars.
Well, hold up.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute.
We had the big Twix.
Wow.
We had the big 3 Musketeers, the big Snickers, the big Milky Ways.
And when the 5 of those were gone, that was it. There's nothing else.
That's all you get.
That's how it goes. Yeah. So Mark Davis chimes in. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. Dislike Christmas. Really? Bah humbug.
Scrooge.
What's your favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday?
Yeah. Week 1 of the football season.
It used to be Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But now I dread having to see certain family members. So actually, I don't look forward to this.
You just
time
said
of year.
that on your show, by the way, in case anybody was listening.
I know my mom listens every morning, so I'm sure
she's gone, well, who's he talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. It's not your voice, but that's
Christmas.
That's generic mom voice.
I'll throw it Christmas out there.
Christmas. I love Christmas.
How could you not?
I freaking love
How could you
Christmas. Love Christmas. It is Christmas is my favorite holiday for so many reasons that it has really very little to do with gift giving. Just mostly about, family coming home, being around family. I love the church services and going to the beautiful chapels or wherever you go and listening to the music. I love that stuff. The whole vibe of Christmas I love. Everybody seems to be a little bit nicer. There's kind of a human connection that becomes important. Yeah, human connection becomes important. Family comes, but I will say this, there are dreadful family experiences. Dreadful. And I went through that when I was married. Although my in-laws were fantastic. I love my in-laws more than my ex-wife. But they were fantastic. But my side of the family was a disaster. Like dealing with my side of the family was just blah. There were there was just awful sometimes. It's like, oh my God, Roxy's gonna be hammered. We're gonna bring up the old stories like clockwork, man. You could set your watch. Okay, here comes the divorce story. It's just like, forget about it. It's over with. So, yeah, when we get into the holidays, we can share some of those great Yuletide stories of family at Christmas. All right, but speaking of that, as we segue, Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30, by the way, from Pewter Report, TJ Rives at 11:15. And, as we go forward here, obviously this is to me, this week's game with the Rams is kind of, I kind of feel like this is the season. This is kind of the season. You go to 3-6, lose 4 in a row, 5 of 6, or 6 or 7, I guess it would be. You're almost falling too far behind, even in your own crappy division. And further, you're just not. I mean, you can't lose that many games in a row and be a good football team. And there's such a paradox going on with this football team because there is talent here. There's no question there's talent here, and everybody deals with injuries across the league. As other teams do. I mean, it's like when our backups are out there, they're completely getting taken advantage of. But we can't take advantage of other teams' backup players, which we've seen with Carolina, which we've seen with Pittsburgh, and that a lot of that is coaching. When you have weak spots in your team, when you have substitutes that are out there, you have to take advantage of those situations. And in the past few weeks, I have not seen the Bucs take advantage of those situations. I have not seen them attack a weakened Pittsburgh secondary. I have not seen them attack a Panthers defense that was and a team whose morals, just their entire spirit has been broken because their upper management had capitulated the season, trading off all their players in the Panthers. But yet you let them go out there, gave them some life early on, gave them a sense of belief, and they went out and kicked your ass. I mean, this is not talent related. This is motivation related. This is communication related. And we're going to hear this on the Brady podcast. And this is a lot of what's going on. I think that's going on. This team has not practiced like they should. They have not prepared like they should. That's what they look like on the field to me. They look like a team on the field that has not taken preparation seriously. And when I look at their leader in Tom Brady, his preparation has not been what it has been in the past. That's just a fact. And his personal situation has never been like this. I mean, you could see the manifestation of his personal situation on the field. That's my opinion. And again, it's not all Brady's fault, but he's such a huge part of what this team does. His intellect, his mind is the number one weapon that the Buccaneers have. Brady is your number one weapon because of the way he can beat teams, and he beats beats teams with his intellect, his pre-snap reads, getting in the right play, knowing where to go with the ball, delivering it on time accurately. And he has not been at his best this year for many reasons. Offensive line, play calling, everything else goes into it. It's a team loss, but it starts with Tom Brady. That's why he gets all the credit. And when things go poorly, he's going to get the blame. So how Tom Brady goes, so goes this football team. And so his mindset, where he's at mentally, is of utmost importance to what's going to happen the rest of the way. And it starts this week with the Rams, a team that has had your number and has outcoached your team multiple times in the last few years. Cooper Kupp is still getting open and still catching. Even if he had a broken ankle this week, which we thought he did have a break, he would still have 11 for 145 against the Buccaneers. I'm convinced of that. With a wheelchair, he would have 11 for 145 and 2 tutties in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So, how are we going to cover Cooper Kupp? We haven't figured that out yet.
And by the way, you say the Rams own the Bucs. This is not just exclusive to this variation of the Bucs.
Yeah.
This goes back for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Stewart, by the way, who you know very well.
Yes.
I woke up this morning and he said not much good history for the Bucs against the Rams.
No.
The last time they
going
beat
back
them,
to the 1979 championship game.
the last time the Bucs beat the Rams at home, 2010, a game-winning touchdown pass from Josh Freeman to Cadillac Williams,
The new
interim coach at Auburn. So put that in perspective right there. So I remember that one. I remember a 4th-string quarterback named Austin Davis, I think, beating the Bucs in like 2016.
Yes.
Or I think Aguayo couldn't make a field goal.
Yeah.
I remember the mustard versus ketchup game on Thursday Night Football, where the Bucs got blown out. And then, of course, the 2 or 3 losses they've had to the Rams since 2020. So this organization, for whatever reason, has been a nightmare for the Bucs. But in Cooper Kupp, I mean, I think all of Tampa Bay collectively went, damn it.
Yeah.
Whenever Sean McVay said, I mean, I hate to say that, but
yeah.
But even though he's going to be limited, maybe, I don't know, he could still put up 100 in his sleeve. He does it every week.
It's the Bucs, yes.
And the Bucs, we'll see if they get some of the secondary back, but don't want to see any sight of Zion McCollum near him. Let's just put it that way.
Well, nobody else can cover him. Jamel Dean can't cover him. Carlton Davis can't cover him. So let's try somebody. Let's try somebody else. No. Okay. All right. So we're going to get into the mindset of Tom Brady on his Let's Go podcast last night. We have a couple of tidbits from it. He did address his divorce and some other personal issues. And he did talk about the football team in terms of what's going wrong and communication and preparing this. You know, there is a cliche alert here, but I think we get a little bit more meat on the well-sponsored podcast than we do in the free press conferences that he gives us. So let's dip in here. You have the slug sheet, so to speak.
Yep.
So you can set up these sound bites. What do you got?
Yeah, first one here, he's just talking about how they got to get it right. And, of course, he has a note here about the NFC South being weak.
Yeah.
And so there's still some hope there.
Figured it out yet. So, look, when you've lost 5 out of 6 games, there's not a lot of good things to be said. I know even coming on the show, you and I joke that it's a lot more fun when we win because there's way more positive things to talk about. That's how we feel at work too. And I think the silver lining is, we have not lost any hope or confidence in one another. We just haven't played well enough, and we're not getting the ball in the end zone enough, and we're not making plays that we're just capable of making. There's a lot of statistics you could point to and a lot of things that are going to be below the line, so to speak. We're just not getting the job done, and we've got to go work harder and stronger and more emotional in a positive way in order to stop the losing momentum and get turned around. So, I think again another silver lining is our division is it's none of the teams in our division have great records. So what we do from here, it's all ahead of us. And hopefully we can get some players healthy. Hopefully we can play better football on Sunday and continue through this season and give it our best. So we had practice earlier today, and we're going to continue to fight like we always have. And we've got to fight harder, and that's what it takes in the NFL right now.
Thing that the buzzword that got me there was more emotional. And I do think this team needs to show some more emotion. It's one of the things I loved about Nick Leverett in this game. Not only did he play better than Luke Gedeke, but he was fired up. I like the fact that when they got a big first down, he was jumping around and showed some emotion, get some energy going. We heard Russell Gage say a few weeks ago that there's, even when good things happen, there's no energy on this team. And he's absolutely right. We've seen that. And energy is contagious. Momentum, be emotional. And that's one of the things I feel like Brady has not. At times he's been emotional. He got, in his face of his team. But as bad as this team has been, Brady should have gone off 20 times by now. The old Brady would have. And we just haven't seen a lot of that. We've seen a lot of him just walking off the field with his helmet in his hand, slumped over. I don't want to see that Brady anymore. I want to see some fight. even am I wrong? I mean, just the body language.
I mean, well, and this is when I thought this was going to be their come to Jesus moment was during the Steelers game.
Yeah.
And it turned out it really meant nothing because they lost that game and they can't stop losing.
Right.
But when he got into the face of the offensive line there,
Yeah.
everybody made a big deal about it. And I kind of thought, go back to the 2020 season when it started out really slow.
Yeah.
That Bears game, it was on for everybody to see, national TV.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He ripped into Ryan Jensen.
Yeah.
And he ripped into the offensive line.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the light went off moment real quick.
Yeah.
Or at least for the Bucs offensive line that season. And everything turned around. So I didn't necessarily have a problem with that. The difference this year, you're not seeing the guys respond.
Right.
The guys are not elevating their play around Tom Brady, either because they're clearly just not good enough in some cases, the left guard position, but I think they figured that out now with Nick Leverett.
I do too.
Maybe they're just too young. I don't know, like Kate Otten or, I don't, for whatever reason, they're just not responding to anything right now. And I think that's probably the most alarming thing. Yeah,
I think, to me, it all starts. If you're going to say what's the difference between this year and last year, I hate to make it as simplistic as this, but I would say the number one issue is Gronk. And you go back and you look at Brady's numbers with Gronk and without Gronk, and they are dramatically different. They're dramatically different. I think it's like, his numbers mirror Andy Dalton when he hasn't had Gronk.
And the offense wasn't exactly on firing on all cylinders for that, 3-4 game stretch last year?
Right.
Where he was out?
Yeah.
It wasn't until the Giants game he came back and things looked a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big deal just because he sets up so much and you have to pay so much attention to him that you get better coverage matchups on the outside. It's a snowball effect. One guy could have such a huge difference. So how do you attack that? Well, you have to, whatever Gronk gave you, you have to replace it with other guys or in other ways, scheming it up. Now, Julio Jones will apparently play his second straight game. And I hate to put any hope in Julio Jones, but the bottom line is he's a big guy that can get down the middle of the field. And that's something that is missing right now. And I don't think Brady has a whole lot of confidence in Julio Jones right now because they just have not worked a lot together. They look out of sync. Of course, he looked out of sync with Mike Evans as well. So let's play number 9 on that on the sheet, because this is the thing that I think is really kind of going to the fact that their preparations have not been good. Maybe those 11 days in the preseason did matter, and I was wrong about that because clearly this offense has not been able to find its stride. But this is Brady talking about offensive miscommunication.
The expectation, that's a good point, because you would say, oh, you won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. What's different? And, you got to rebuild every year. And that's part of the deal in the NFL, that nothing's the same from year after year. We have so many new players on our team from that team a couple of years ago. We've moved on from that. We moved on last year, and we came up short last year. And this year, we started off 2-0. It felt really good. Lost a tough one at home to Green Bay. Lost another tough one at home to Kansas City. Beat Atlanta, and then now have lost 3 straight. And it's tough to swallow because you have very high expectations to start the year because you do have some players returning, but you're still integrating a lot of new people, new schemes into the offense. And we just have not clicked yet. We have not found our rhythm yet. We haven't been able to hang our hat on any one thing that we can count on week to week. But hopefully we can turn that around. And it's a new month here in November. It's going to get tougher. These games are all more meaningful because there's few of them left. And if we want to do something about the season, we're the ones that got to turn it around. So I think it first starts with awareness of what do we have to correct. And the only way to correct it is to practice it. And that's by going out there every day with a commitment to getting better, with a great work ethic and a great attitude. Then you can gain some confidence in practice, and hopefully that confidence can carry over to the games. But the problem is when you're losing, every third down feels monumental. Every kick feels monumental, and that's the problem when you're in the rhythm of losses. I was watching the Eagles the other day. They're in the rhythm of winning. Yep. So everything is just coming because they're making it happen. And that's a great way to play. That's the way winning teams do play. And that's the way it feels that, they make every play. And that's the difference in the teams that win and lose. Ultimately, you either make the play or you don't. And whether that's a pass that I need to make, whether that's, we're on the receiving end of that, whether I'm on a tackling end of that, whether I'm rushing the quarterback on the other end of that, This is all an individual matchup game, and we all collectively as a team have to do a better job. And that's just when you're in the losing rut of the season, you've got to turn it around. You've got to put more energy. You got to put more emphasis into it. You got to practice harder. You got to play harder until you get it to turn. And then once you find your rhythm, you got to stay in that rhythm. So that's what we're working toward. And that's what we're talking about. And this is the first time that, since I've been here, we've had to deal with something like this. We've had other really tough losses. A few years ago, we lost by, 30 plus points, but we haven't lost 3 games in a row. And we got another good football team coming to town here, and the Rams here. So if it's going to change, it's going to be up to us and the people at One Buck to go out there every day with an intention and awareness to go practice, gain confidence so that we can go perform at a higher level on Sunday by playing with more anticipation, better communication, and hopefully that leads to better execution.
He said practice better. How many times there? About 4 or 5?
Yeah.
This is a lot of what is the issue. I mean, how many times has he practiced with Julio Jones? How many times has he practiced with Mike Evans? How many times has he practiced with Chris Godwin? I mean, those guys are out there. A lot of times they're limited. Julio's been limited a lot. I mean, I think he's practiced more with Godwin and Evans, which is why those guys get the majority of the targets. But Rashad White, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson now is coming back, the saving grace. I mean, it seems like it's been disjointed, their preparation for the entire, since training camp, since he went away for 11 days. I said, I don't think it will matter much. They still have 3 weeks before the season, blah, 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 blah. But, you look at the results, and the results are awful. And there are a lot of different reasons for it, but I think that's probably one of them. And this is a reason you have training camp, right? So everybody is there. And I think it has to be put as part of the problem. All right, let's listen to Tom talk about the run game, which has not been very good, to say the least, and how this affects the entire offense.
And continue to work and communicate on, us getting to the right alignments and on the right people, and then obviously playing, with a lot of confidence with one another in order to maximize the opportunities when we do get the runs called. And I think part of it is we haven't converted as well on third down, so therefore we're off the field and we're not able to pile up a lot of runs. But I have a lot of confidence in us, and we have good runners. We just haven't gotten the job done, and it's turned into a lot of passing games because we've been behind a lot. And I think one thing always can benefit the other. If we gain more first downs on third down, then we can run the ball more. If we run the ball more, it's less passing. If it's less passing and you play with a lead because you're two-dimensional, you can get more chunks in the pass game too, because you're not playing from behind and they can pin their ears back and rush the quarterback. So that's kind of how football is. When one thing goes bad, you just got to try to solve it, because if one thing goes bad, it leads to another thing. There's more compensation. And then ultimately, you're not playing a winning style of football, which is really the case. We've got behind because we haven't played well early. Once you get behind, you're forced more to a one-dimensional game. The other team can play on their terms. And it's very difficult to pull things together when you're not playing the way that we're capable of. So we just got to keep fighting. There's no other way but through it. And there's no surrender. We're going to fight as hard as we can. And we're going to try to turn things around.
I almost like a mixed on, everybody's calling for more balance in the offense.
Yeah.
And we saw that at least in the first game against Dallas, to an extent against New Orleans. And you could go, look, they won those games and they did everything they needed to do. They kept the opposing defense off the field. Your defense was in turn fresher and was playing at a much higher level than they have been the last 4 weeks. And that's all true. And even Bowles said that. We did it yesterday, but he was asked about, would you like to see more running? And he's like, yes, I do. And I've told that to Byron. I thought we get a little too pass happy. It's like, I get all that, but you're running. It's not, even when you try to run, you are running at the worst clip in NFL history. So I'll defend the play calling for a second there. What gives you confidence to say well, you know what? We're going to go out there and run it 25, 30 times just because. When you're not getting any yards.
Right.
So it's like everybody wants balance and all that. But at the end of the day, your best option to move the chains is to keep throwing. And for whatever, and we know there's a lot of reasons why it's just not happening there. I don't think it's because you're predictable. I really don't.
I think it is.
You
I
do?
think a lot of it's predictable.
You do?
Yeah. Look at the majority of how many targets are going to Evans and Godwin. It's like, if you're defending this offense, you look at it and you go, well, I don't have to commit a safety to the run because they don't run block very well. And we can handle that with the 6 guys there. All right, so now what do I have to worry about? I have to worry about Evans and Godwin. Okay, well, let's bracket those guys, and we're going to single everybody else. And it's not the fact that Scotty Miller can't get open against some of these guys, because we've seen him open deep a couple of times. If Brady's missed them, they've had a couple of PIs, so they're getting open. Julio Jones was open a few times, and they didn't connect, and they did connect late on the touchdown. But it's these third and fourth and fifth options that Brady has to have trust in. If he doesn't trust you, he's not going to throw you the football. And again, being open in this league is what? Half a yard, you're open, right? Brady's got to be able to trust you, that he knows where you're going, how fast you're going. And I think he's lost a lot of trust in these other guys. And therefore, he just sticks with the guys he knows. He locks into Godwin. He locks into Evans. And that's almost the entire offense. It's very predictable. So think of it from a defensive coordinator standpoint. It's not hard to defend this team. They're not very multiple. They're just a couple of things they do, and that's all they do.
Yeah, I think predictable as in, I think the play calling, like some of the routes and everything, I think is very predictable. I mean, we're hearing guys up top that are calling the game, calling it out before it happens.
Exactly.
And if they know it, then the defenses know it, right?
Of course.
So it's predictable in that sense.
The tendencies are very, very predictable.
It is predictable in that sense. I just don't know if the remedy to this offense is, well, we need to start running it, 25, 30 times a game and having Brady throw 15, 20 times less.
That's not it.
I don't think that's going to help it. I mean, I will say the last 2 weeks, which has been like the worst 2 weeks where they've run the football this year, Rachaad White has averaged over 4 yards a pop.
Yes, he has.
The last 2 games.
Yes, he
so
has.
While Leonard Fournette is going forward and doing his little shuffle for a yard or two,
Fournette's vision has been so poor.
It's shot.
When you watch the tape, you see holes there that he's missing, and he's just not getting there.
I'd be down to run it 15 times a game with Rachaad White and see if he can grind out 70 yards or 80. Well, I'd be down to see that.
They've got to get different players involved in different parts of the field and not be so predictable.
And run it to the right side of the field. Run it to the right side of the line.
Brady has to trust it too.
Yeah.
And stop running. I love running jet sweeps. That's a great changeup. And it forces the defense to react to you. But don't run it with Jalen Darden, who's looking to run out of bounds or the ground, or Julio, who has a bad knee. The guys that have been most successful on this are Godwin and Scotty Miller. Who are you? Don't throw it to. Don't do that with Mike Evans either. He's not a run after the catch guy. He's not a runner type. Perriman's been pretty good in that. You got to get the right personnel in there.
Yeah.
Rachaad White.
I want to see Rachaad White in general.
He's got to get 15 to 20 touches.
JC brought it up. There's no reason this guy should be only getting 18 snaps in a game.
No, ridiculous. He needs to be getting 15 to 20
throw him
touches.
Like he said, throw him in the slot. He did it at Arizona State. There's a reason why you had confidence in drafting him when you did, because you saw the pass catching ability.
That's something different. Let's show something different. It's the same shit as every week.
Yeah.
It's so predictable. All right, before we get to Scott, I want to hear Brady talk about his personal life and the divorce, which he did bring up last night on the podcast. Let's go. Let's go is the podcast. Well sponsored. Did I mention that? Very well sponsored.
I think there's a lot of professionals in life that go through things that they deal with at work and they deal with at home. And obviously the good news is it's a very amicable situation. And I'm really focused on 2 things, and taking care of my family and certainly my children. And secondly, doing the best job I can to win football games. So that's what professionals do. You focus at work when it's time to work. And then when you come home, you focus on the priorities that are at home. And all you can do is the best you could do. And that's what I'll just continue to do, as long as I'm working and as long as I'm being a dad.
Is there a challenge compartmentalizing between the two?
Well, I think that's what being a professional is. So I've dealt with a lot of challenging situations on and off the field over 23 years. And a lot of it does play out in front of a lot of people. So, I think the interesting thing for, football player, athlete in general is, you're out there. I always say we're not actors, even though we're on TV, that is our real self out there. We're trying to do our best. That's how people really have gotten to know me over the years, by being on TV. And that is an authentic self that's out there to compete with my teammates every day. And you're giving all you can to the team. And, everyone's going through different things. We all have our unique challenges in life, and we're all humans, and we do the best we could do. And I have incredible parents that have always taught me the right way to do things. I want to be a great father to my children and always try to do things the right way as well. And to deal with things that in your life that have challenges, you want to deal with in the best possible way. So I want to always be able to hold my head high on and off the field. And I'm going to try to continue to do that for as long as I'm here.
That's interesting stuff right there. Because I don't think I've ever heard him, talk so much about, being there for his children and separating work and football like that. Because that's not been his MO for most of his career. And I'm not criticizing him one bit. I'm just saying this is a little different. And that's what happens when you're 45 years old and you have children like this. Most guys, have younger children. It may be a little bit easier to separate that stuff. But when, you have older kids, they're doing stuff, you want to be there for them, to go to their games, to go to their, concerts, to go to their recitals, to do all these things, to go trick-or-treating with them last night. I mean, all these things. And, when you're doing things like that, what you're not doing? You're not watching tape. But that's the balance that you need to have in life. And you have to figure out if that works. And does that work for Tom Brady? I don't know. It's not working. Well, I don't know what his situation is, but clearly he's been somewhat distracted. And I don't say that in a mean way, folks. I don't say that he shouldn't do that. It's just that that's been a winning edge for him for much of his life. So it was very interesting to hear him talk that way. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report, who joins us each and every Tuesday. Good morning to you, sir. How are you? How was your Halloween?
It was good. It was uneventful, really, but still coming off that Saturday high from my Kansas State Wildcats beating Oklahoma State 48-0. That made my weekend right there. I'm just telling you.
What a beatdown! Oh my God! I saw that score. Then I watched some of the highlights. What the name of Bill Snyder was that?
The thing is we actually had TCU on the ropes down in Waco, and we're up, I think, 17 points at halftime, and we just suffered a litany of injuries. We were down to our third string quarterback. Adrian Martinez was out. Will Howard, our backup, was out for I think a full quarter before he came back and was playing injured. And we just kind of ran out of players. And TCU is a very good team. I would love to see, and I think it's going to be a rematch of TCU, Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game, because we're a good school. And the only two teams we've lost to, we lost by 3 points to a very good Tulane school, believe it or not. Tulane has only lost one game this year. Yeah. They're in the top 25. And then, of course, TCU, and they're a top 8 team right now, top 5, whatever they are.
Yeah. They'll probably be 5 or 6 tonight in the rankings that come out tonight as our first bowl championship ranking. So congratulations.
Thank
to your
you.
kids.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
My FSU did put it on.
Yes.
Put it on Georgia Tech. UCF,
yes, they did. Saw that.
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Charge on, Nick. Yeah. Charge on. Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're lucky the Big 12. We're not in the Big 12 this year because UCF would be would be the title game this year.
I'll tell you what. See, the thing is, I'm a huge UCF fan. We might have talked about this before. When I moved to Florida back in 1995, I mean, I love my Wildcats. I'm an alum, but I love watching live college football. There's nothing like it. Yeah. And let's face it, I mean, USF just sucks. They always have, right? So, I mean, so they're out of it. I could never cling to the Gators. I never got on board with the Gators. Tallahassee is like 4 hours away. So I actually started watching UCF football back when Scott Frost got there, and it really just kind of became captivated. And then obviously the Josh Heupel years. I've been a UCF fan. Matter of fact, I was at the Gasparilla Bowl last year, and I think I'm 4-0 at the Bounce House.
4-0 at the Bounce? Wow.
I am, yeah. So I'm 5-0 watching UCF, and And I'm actually thinking about calling Terry Mahajer, who actually went to my high school, Shawnee Mission South, and saying, Terry, can I get some season tickets? I'm not saying I'm the reason why UCF is doing really well, because I'm not. But I help out when I'm at the bounce house. Like could have used me for the Louisville game. So
yes, I need you for that Louisville game.
Yes,
I need you in the black and gold cabana every single week going forward.
I'm there. Like hook me up and I'm there. Yeah,
that's their luxury suite.
Yeah.
Thank God. All right, let's talk some Buccaneers
Yep.
football. We haven't. Well, we did talk to you after the game last week. So now, as we look ahead, we just to me this game this week is really, I think, the season. It's such a difference between going 4-5 to 3-6, and you got to start playing some good football and get some momentum going. And here comes a Rams team that has not been very good.
Yeah.
If there's a disappointing as the Bucs have been, it's a Super Bowl hanger, whatever you want to call it. It's just they're not very good, and it's a critical game for the Buccaneers. I think they got to have it, and I'm hoping to see some different stuff this week. We just listened to Brady. He sounds a little bit more dialed in, if I can say that. So what are your expectations?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't trust this team. I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't trust the Buccaneers.
That's exactly my feeling.
Yeah. I mean, they could come out and win. They could come out and lose. I mean, that's my expert analysis. They could win. They could lose.
Yeah.
No, I think
Adam Schefter of you.
Yeah. Right. It's interesting because the defense, if you look back, has played, with the exception really of the Kansas City game, which was just an anomaly because that was the Hurricane game. That was right from the start. Rashad White fumbles the ball, 2 plays. They're down 7-0. So if we can remove that one and look at maybe the last 4 games, the defense has played really good in the first half.
Yep.
And just kind of falls apart in the second half. Yep. And the excuse is, well, they didn't have a lead. Okay, they had a 10-3 lead. That's a 1-score lead. Mm-hmm. But just something happens after halftime. It's like midnight, and Cinderella's carriage turns into a pumpkin. It just is not a second half team.
Coaching adjustments?
There aren't any really, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I don't see.
And we talked about this a little bit. I'm not going to repeat myself, but just the Cliff Notes version. You look at the tale of 2 halves for the Ravens. And, Greg Roman came out and wisely attacked the Bucs' weakness, which was their secondary beat up. Lamar Jackson throws the ball 30 times in the first half, runs it twice for -1 yard, gets sacked a couple times, and then flips the script and says, instead of attacking their weakness, we're going to play to our strength. I think the problem for the Buccaneers right now is they really don't have a strength outside of outside of 2-minute offense and just slinging the rock. And the problem with that approach is when it works, you get 10 points on the board early. Right. But then when it doesn't work, you get 5 straight possessions that totaled 19 plays, okay, and consumed only 6 minutes of clock time combined in the second and third quarter. And that just hung the Bucs defense out to dry. And I think Todd Bowles is kind of asking the impossible of this team. He said, we need to run the ball more and run it better. The problem is they can run it more, but can they run it better? Okay. Like, I understand what Todd Bowles wants. He wants his defense to be chilling on the sidelines for 6 or 7 minutes a pop, right? And getting ready to play in the fourth quarter, fresh and energized. Maybe play 55 plays in the game, not 74. And I understand that approach. But can this team run the ball and run it effectively? I don't know that they can. They haven't shown it. And I'd like to see more Rashad White. I think they need to start transitioning now and understand that Leonard Fournette is under contract for 3 years, but they can really get out after this 1 year. It's really kind of a 1-year deal. There'll be a little bit of cap charge later, but Rashad White, I want to see more of him. I think he's got a little bit of electricity, better vision, and 7 touches was not enough last Thursday night.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And I say, we're talking about this offense, how predictable it is. And you look at, if you're a defensive coordinator, as you have been in your Pee Wee days,
that's right.
It's Evans and Godwin. That's
it.
I mean, it's Evans and Godwin, and you don't need to put a safety up for the run game because they can't run the football.
Right.
So now I say, okay, I got Evans and Godwin. This is why teams like the Panthers and the Steelers, as depleted as they are, can still stop the Bucs offense because it's so predictable and so there's only two things they do well. And so and I think a lot of it has to do with Brady's trust issues.
Yes.
Talking about his personal life.
Correct.
But it might spill over. And he doesn't trust Scotty Miller. He doesn't trust Julio Jones, who finally got back on the field.
Right.
He doesn't trust, I guess he doesn't trust
Rashad Perriman.
It doesn't trust Perriman. He doesn't trust Otten. He's got to trust these guys. He's got to start throwing to other people because it's just so freaking easy to defend. And that's what I'm saying. There is so much that can change and be better. It gives me some hope. But we got to see it before we predict it's going to happen.
True. And I think there's another silver lining to it, and that might be Cade Otton, the rookie tight end. He's made a couple of clutch catches now down the seam, and that's the one element that has been missing is that Gronk element. And I'm not saying Otton's anywhere close to Gronk, but if he can run those Gronk routes and impersonate Gronk with the 35-yard catch and run, with that diving, awesome 19-yard catch, against the Steelers, where it had the defender draped all over him. If he makes a couple of those more, a couple more catches like that, he's gonna get more plays. He's gonna get more shots called, and he's stepping up now. Again, in the end zone, like you got to catch that one. It wouldn't have counted because of the penalty, but you got to catch it, right?
Exactly. Trust.
Yes, it does. It does. It's like, all right, I'll give you another shot, Rook. Oh, damn, and then it's like the trust meter. It goes one way, then it goes the other, right? So I'd like to see more Cade Otton in this passing game because I do feel like his confidence is really coming on. I think that connection with Brady's coming on, and he could be a guy that alleviates some of that pressure from Evans and Godwin. Because right now, you said that the Buccaneers. And I think fans just need to understand, why aren't they scoring as many points? Because last year and the year before, the Bucs would go five targets out in the formation, right? They would be four wide. Yeah. And those wide would be Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski. Yep. Like those are the four split out. Yep. Brady'd be in shotgun, then you'd have Fournette. He'll go out into the flat as a guy. And Brady trusted the 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, Marpet, Jensen, and Wirfs, the better-than-average Alex Kappa at right guard, and then, of course, I think still a very, very good left tackle in Donovan Smith, right?
How different that is.
Brady trusted those 5 to block your 4 or your 5 if you bring one, and please bring one, because when you do bring one, we have 5 to block your 5, right? And if you want to bring 6, we could even have Fournette, stay in the backfield and help. And that now you're just making it easy for Tom. He's going to find the one-on-one, Evans, Godwin, Gronk, or AB. Right now they don't have the guys that can get open outside of Evans. And Godwin is not Chris Godwin. He's Christopher Godwin right now. He's not all the way back, right? No. So it's not Chris Godwin. It's Christopher Godwin. Yes. And we need to see Chris Godwin, but Chris Godwin still coming back mentally and physically from that knee injury. So
he's got and that's for the offense. Now we got to fix the defense, Scott.
Yeah.
Without Shaq Barrett, and Shaq was starting to play really, really well. You got to, one of those sacks in the Ravens, nobody blocked him, which is good. Take advantage of it, right?
Sure. Yeah. It counts.
But, so now, how does this defense get fixed? I mean, Antoine Winfield, hopefully coming back this week. I mean, you got to have him.
Yeah.
The loss of Logan Ryan has just been.
It's been brutal. It really has.
Brutal. They're not playing well in the back, and they're not playing well anywhere. And Devin White, obviously, we've talked a lot about him.
Yep.
But I haven't talked to you about this when Todd Bowles, stood up there on Monday. I think it was Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
And said, I have no problem with Devin White.
Right.
I mean,
I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I think that's coach speak. I think he has to say that because, and listen, Todd Bowles is not Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is, I don't give a shit. I'm going to say what I'm going to say in a press conference about you. It's not personal. I can talk crap about your football, but it's nothing personal, right? Todd Bowles is one of those guys that is, I will praise in public and critique in private. And that's okay. If that's his approach, that's fine. And so he's not going to critique or criticize or throw Devin White under the bus. At the same time, the film doesn't lie.
Right.
Pewter Report, we put out some film from that Ravens game that night. Warren Sapp has been all over Twitter and Instagram with a couple of Devin White's lowlights. It's out there. Like, you can't run from the film.
Nope.
So I hope that the criticism that the media has turned up on Devin White, I hope it makes him a better player. He blocked us on Twitter because I said he's an overrated player. It needs to be said. And again, not a personal slight against Devin. I don't care if he blocked us or not. It makes no difference to me. But he at least read it, and I hope he takes it to heart, and I hope he uses it for fuel, for the fire, and becomes a better version of himself, because he has all the potential in the world to become a great linebacker. The problem is, and I'm writing this in my Fab 5 column on Friday, and these are very familiar names to you, JP, and probably you too, Nick, but JP is closer to my age, so I'm gonna definitely speak to JP here, okay? Hardy Nickerson, Derek Brooks, Shelton Quarles, Levante David, Devin White. One of these doesn't belong, right?
Yeah.
And it's just that. And the thing is, from a talent standpoint, from a sheer talent standpoint, there's really two guys in that conversation, just based on sheer talent. That's DB 55 and Get Live 45. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Levante is like right there, right? He's like maybe A-, but from a sheer physical talent standpoint, it's Derek Brooks, A, Devin White, A, and Levante David, A-, right? And I love Hardy Nickerson, but he was a little bit more intangible and a little bit less like athlete, right? Same with Shelton Quarles.
Yep.
So,
but you know what?
You hope this guy gets it. He's only 24. I'm not writing him off. I hope he turns it around. He's played very good stretches of football. Yeah. But something's missing with him. He's not getting the message. And that's happened a lot of times. He didn't get the message against Pittsburgh. How in the world, on the heels of the Tua concussion, when that consumed the talking heads and social media conversation that week, does he push Kenny Pickett down and extend that opening drive on a 3rd and 6 with a stupid personal foul? And then decides not to cover Najee Harris for an easy touchdown. We saw Kenyon Drake beat him to the flat in that Thursday night game. There's these little mental mistakes in these gaps.
They're not
that
little.
Just. Oh no, you're right. They're big. Yeah. But they're easy. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's easy. Like your job is to cover Najee Harris. Go cover him. That's easy. That's what you're supposed to do.
Here's where you and I, these old heads, can really use our experience. And that's you interviewed Hardy Nickerson. You knew Hardy Nickerson well. It's not like he's dead.
Yes.
Same with 55. Same with Shelton Quarles. Same with LD Levante Devin. And then there's Devin White.
Sleep, drink.
These are different.
Dream, crap, football.
Different. Those are very, very serious football players. Those men. Those guys. And Devin's just different. He's more fun-loving. He's more, he's more personality.
Yeah.
He's more, and sometimes when you're in that position as the leader of this defense with the C on your chest, you need to be a badass.
You do.
You need to be a serious football player and a serious man.
Yep.
And I'm not doing this to slight him as a person.
Agreed.
I love Devin. I love his personality. I love his love for horses, and I don't want to take that away from him.
Right.
But it just seems like sometimes his focus is on being Devin White in a primetime game. I'm going to make a big play. I'm going to make a splash play. I'm going to do this. When you should be, do your effing job.
That's right.
Do your effing job and win.
JP, on and I don't know if it was 3rd down or 2nd down, but he tracks Lamar Jackson down, and Lamar, I think, only had like a 4 or 5 yard run, and he kind of pushed him out of bounds at the sidelines. Then he gets up and he's like, "Yeah, I got Lamar Jackson," and Lamar's like, "Dude, I got the first down. Like, I got the yard I needed to get the first down." So,
exactly what I'm talking about,
and it is exactly what you're talking about. That's exactly right. It's understanding that. Like, you may have tracked down Lamar Jackson, but you didn't win the down. He did, not you.
Yes.
So don't celebrate, right? It's almost like Vernon Hargraves, right? When he was like 2 steps behind the receiver getting smoked down the field and the ball was underthrown. It should have been like a 55-yard touchdown. And then he starts doing this, like, oh, you didn't catch it. And it's like, well, if the ball was better thrown, Vernon, that's a friggin' touchdown, dude. Like, you would not be celebrating. So there's a time and point to celebrate. And again, this is old school, and this is a different generation. I remember when Mike Tomlin came in here in 2001 to replace Herm Edwards. And the first thing he said was, we are not going to celebrate PBUs, which is pass breakup. We're not going to celebrate it. Like no celebration for PBUs, because that means a dropped interception. Okay. So don't celebrate PBUs. We're not doing that. And that was in 2001. You know what happened next year in 2002? You know how many interceptions the Buccaneers had that season? 31, a franchise record. This team hasn't even come close. Now, I'm not saying the Todd Bowles team or the Bruce Arians team. I'm saying any Buccaneer team. That was John Gruden's team, but Raheem Morris, Greg Schiano, Lovie Smith, Dirk Cutter, no team has come close to 31 interceptions. Matter of fact, even the rest of the Gruden teams didn't come close to 31. But that message took hold. And yeah, Derek Brooks had 5 picks that year. He didn't drop any. But my point is it's the level of focus. And I think what is just baffling to me and baffling to Todd Bowles is he has been preaching attention to detail since he got the job on March 30th. And I don't know what's happening with his message. It's not resonating because this is like the most undisciplined, undetail-oriented team.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't think they're tuning him out. I don't think that he's lost the locker room by any means. I think that the team, by all accounts, loves Todd Bowles. But the message just isn't taking hold. And I don't know if he needs to instill some fear, if he needs to do something different. But that message with the details is not taking hold, and that's alarming right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, Todd as the head coach, right? Everybody wants to, talk about him with his arms folded. He's not. This is the same guy that's running this defense, has been kicking ass for 3 years.
Right.
But it's not. But he also had a head coach that was more fiery and holding people accountable.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's the same Todd Bowles, but there's a big character and a big personality in the room that was in the room that held a lot of people accountable.
You're right.
It's not anymore.
And you know what?
Dynamic.
Right. The other guy in Tampa that stood around with his arms folded, Tony Dungy, he had Herm Edwards, who was his assistant head coach, and he was called the sheriff. Yep. Right. Herm was the fire starter on that coaching staff for a long time. Yep. And then it kind of gradually became Mike Tomlin too, when for that year.
A lot of highly emotional assistant coaches.
There were exactly,
I mean, leaders.
Yeah, and Rod Marinelli was the most Jekyll and Hyde dude I've ever seen. If you're having an interview with Rod, he just talks like this to you. It's just that's how he talks. And then like on the field, he is like the most F-bombing dropping dude that you've ever seen, right? And I mean that's one thing I loved about Rod is like he was a drill sergeant when it came to game days or practices.
Coaching staff, is there a fire starter on this coaching staff?
Larry Foote, it kind of gets that title, but I don't know that there is anyone close to Bruce Arians.
A lot of super nice guys and good coaches, but they're not fiery. They're not, and a lot of people will say this, and you're professionals. You shouldn't be motivated by your coach.
It's an emotional game, though. It just is.
It just is. I mean, you either have to have players or coaches or somebody that's lighting the fire, and I don't know if I see that personality out there right now. It's
critically important, and I think Jason Pierre-Paul was that guy last year. I mean, in the years before. I mean, he was the fire starter. And I'll tell you what, the other guy, too, is Tom Brady. And we've talked about it. We talked about it Friday. When you're sitting sulking in front of your locker, like that's not the Tom Brady this team needs.
Nope.
Because everyone's looking at him. Because you've got the C on Devin White's chest, and when he's out there missing tackles and loafing, he's a pregame speech guy at this point. He's not a leader.
Yeah.
Vita Vea, I mean, listen, a Pro Bowl nose tackle, great, but he's exactly, he's not that guy. He's not Hardy Nickerson. He's not Warren Sapp.
We're looking for
exactly.
championship teams have these
Correct.
personalities. They have these role players, and everybody has it. The championship teams that I've covered, they all have that.
Yes, correct.
You're looking at, where's the fire on this team? Who's that guy? You're right.
And you know what? It's Ryan Jensen, and he can't be that guy because he's not. He's the tone setter. He's the ginger, man. He's the badass, and he's not. I even wrote on Saturday. I said the coaches have actually gone to Tristan Wirfs, and I actually interviewed Tristan for that article. And I said, have you been asked to step up and be more of like a vocal leader with Ryan Jensen being out? And he said, yeah, the coach is good. He's really been trying to get on me to do that, and he said, it just, gosh, it's like I'm the youngest guy on the line. And I said, dude, listen, I said, you need to friggin' step up because you're the most credentialed. This needs to be your offensive line. You're the best player. And he's like, yeah, I know. It just, and again, it's just, you can't force leadership, right? You can't.
Yeah, we said it's the same thing. You can't force leadership, man. You're either that guy or you're not. It doesn't make you bad. It's just like the guy who's not a natural leader tries to be one. It's inauthentic.
Correct.
It falls flat. It's kind of
it does. And you know what? Even our mutual friend Rondé Barber, like in my opinion, one of the top 5 Bucs of all time, right? And Rondé was always that reluctant leader. He would tell me, I'd rather be the lieutenant to Brooks than the captain, right? And I'd rather be the hype man. I'd rather be, what he said, right? Like, go DB, listen to DB, right? And he finally, once Lynch was gone, Sapp was gone, DB was gone, everyone's looking at Rondé like, you're the old man, you're the most accomplished guy. And he kind of had to be that leader, but that wasn't until like really the end of the Raheem and the Schiano year that he was there. It really wasn't until like the twilight of his career that Rondé kind of became more of a vocal leader, which is kind of crazy. But again, he didn't really feel comfortable in that role. He was, hey, you want to follow what I do? I'll be the lead by example guy all day long, but I'm not the rah-rah pregame speech guy.
Yeah. So, all right, Scott, we got to wrap this up. And I guess, you hope that some natural leaders evolve here. I think Antoine Winfield can be that guy.
I think he can too. Yeah.
I don't know where, it's time for Tom Brady to be Tom Brady.
It is. Yep.
As absolutely gut-wrenching of a scene that was, looking at Tom in that locker with his pads on. You saw it. I saw it. It was gut-wrenching. It was, to me, that was the guy that had come to grips with his football mortality. And it really,
he looked defeated, right? He looked defeated.
He looked defeated. That's what he's been all year. And I hope he's got to change that. To me, he's the bell cow. He's got to change that.
Everyone's looking at him. They're not looking at Devin White. They're not looking at Vita Vea. Levante, I love Levante, but honestly, he's more of a Rondé Barber, right, than he is, and even Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks, his leadership was in the locker room. He was the godfather. Yeah. The leaders on the field were Sapp and Lynch in terms of the fire starters and all that. That's just how it was. And we mentioned fire starters. Like, the reason why John Gruden loved Warren Sapp was because Sapp loved the game of football so much. He loved to practice. He was out there with as much energy in the dog days of November and December at practice on a Thursday as he was the first day of training camp. Yeah. Like, Sapp just loved to practice, and Gruden appreciated that. And that's why you saw, you personnel, right? Personnel, Sapp going in at tight end, getting some touchdowns from Gruden because he just appreciated the iron fist that Sapp ruled that team with. And this team, it needs some iron fist. And you know what? For all the ability, God, it should and could be Devin White. Yeah. And I hope that him getting called out and getting, ridiculed on social media and all this, it flips the switch with this guy because he's so talented. Yeah. But then again, it's like in this generation, JP, how is he going to take it? Right?
We're looking at you, Nick.
I'm not looking at Nick, but seriously, like this generation, it's not a tough generation. It isn't. No. It's you hurt my feelings, and I get to feel my feelings. I'm entitled to my feelings, and I'm entitled to be sad, and I'm entitled to block you because you're mean. Yeah. And it's like, that's not how it used to be. And honestly, I think how it used to be was better. I think we're better off that way. So
I don't know why you're
just my old 2 man sin, 2 cents.
It's your old guys. You chamber that.
Get off my lawn.
One guy wears makeup on TV too. He's not. All right. All right. Tell us what all your great content going on at Pewter. By the way, thank you for a fascinating conversation. Two old heads going back and bringing up but I think these are all very pertinent points. And
They are.
It's fascinating football conversation. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I thought it was really cool. Nick likes it too.
Nick's like, not so much.
That's what you can't call me out, you old bastard.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us where your content is. And what
PewterReport.com. Check it out. We've got a ton of Bucs content, Bucs Rams preview coming up. We've got our Pewter Report podcast tomorrow and Thursday at 4:00. That's live on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe to that. And if you miss our live show, you can always check out all of our video podcasts up there in archive. So encourage you to do that. Make sure when you follow us on social media, you're doing it at Pewter Report on Elon Musk's favorite website, Twitter. Facebook and Instagram. That's at Pewter Report. So we appreciate all the Buck fans who join us, and appreciate you guys, JP and Nick, for having me on.
As you say that, I'm reading this Elon Musk dissolves Twitter board called a waste of time, becomes sole director and complaint hotline operator.
Oh, boy.
There you go. The world has changed. Finally. Yep. All right, partner. Appreciate your time.
You got it. Take care.
All right, we got to hit a break. Our thanks to Emerging Investigations, our first hour sponsor. If you have any issues with your spouse or a criminal matter, insurance fraud, any of those type things that you'll need a private investigator for, they are the best in the business. They're family owned and operated too, so they can do a lot of things that a lot of these corporate companies cannot do, folks, or aren't willing to do. So it makes a difference. So go to and then you can make your decision. So go to merginginv.com and check out the website and tell them you heard it from JP. Also, the Jeeves Law Group as well, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you're in an accident, you need legal help, it's the Jeeves Law Group. Insurance companies hate them, which means you should love them. All right, back in a few minutes. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we ring in November, ladies and gentlemen. And this is when football gets serious in the NFL and college football. We'll have our first rankings tonight. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves was in here last week talking about if you're having issues with your homeowners insurance vis-a-vis the hurricane. I know a lot of us we have a lot of listeners down in Southwest Florida and Central Florida. There was a lot of cars that were damaged. The insurance company is not going to give you what you deserve. You need an attorney and there are provisions in the law that they will have to pay for the attorney. You do not have to pay for the attorney. So, and in certain situations, so you got to call Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves, JeevesLawGroup.com. Go to their website, send them an email or call them, and they'll talk you through the whole process. So if you've had a car totaled, even in the last few years, if you've already had it settled, they can, do some things. So just call them and find out if you have a claim. And if you're working a claim right now and you don't feel like you're getting your just due, call the Jeeves Law Group and they'll take care of it. Any of legal questions, Scott Jeeves and his associates over there can take care of you. Very friendly bunch. Don't be intimidated. Just give them a call. Tell them you heard it on JP show, and they'll help you out. And that's the Jeeves Law Group. Also, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. We're going to have Chris Lugo on, I believe, next week to talk you through testosterone replacement therapy. One of the great things they do over there is get your nutrition right, help you out with fasting if you need to lose some weight, and you'll be able to keep it off. It's not like these fad diets. They've got a lot of great programs, certain things that they can do that will work best for you, and everything is personalized. So it's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Please give them a call. If you're looking for new primary care, they're great for that as well. And new techniques, somebody who's not stayed into the old write a script for everything medicine. No, they look at the causes and find out what's going on and help you out. So if you've been thinking about getting a better doctor, it's a way to go. BAMMC.com is the website. All right. Top 4 tonight will be coming out. And I will say this right now, as I sit here and look, I don't, we could say Alabama, Georgia again, but I think there are some outsiders, so to speak, that will have something to say about this. And I think Tennessee is certainly one of those teams. And what Josh Heupel, your former UCF coach, has done there is incredible. And Hendon Hooker can flat out play. He's got receivers. That offense is spectacular. Tennessee's going to be a tough out. Ohio State, they finally played somebody this week. You're more impressed with them than I am. Georgia, Alabama, TCU is certainly in the mix. And what about Oregon? Oregon feels like they laid an egg against Georgia early on, and now they've got something to say about it. I think the top 4 tonight is pretty much going to be Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Tennessee.
So you think Alabama's going to be in there over a Michigan or a Clemson?
I'm not really 1 to 4 right now. It really doesn't matter to me. To me, it's just one, the top 4. Because everybody gets in, neutral site. Here we go.
Yeah, and everything's going to change after the first one. I think Georgia's number 1 in the nation right now. I told you going into this Florida game, I thought they were almost a sleeping giant, if you will, because I feel like everybody kept saying, oh, they're not the same this year. Stetson Bennett's getting a lot of flack, right, because they're not scoring 50 points a game. And they went out there, and I think they proved that they were way better than Florida, and I think they played at their best at stretches in that game. Now, one of their better defenders, Nolan Smith, linebacker, is out for the season now.
Yep, that's a big deal.
That's going to change things.
He's the top 15 pick.
Yeah, but the thing with Georgia, though, is we know they got another guy coming up behind them. That's probably a damn good linebacker as well. So that's the luxury of being Georgia.
But they got to learn the game too.
Yeah, but we're gonna
big games. That's a big game player.
Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot about both Georgia and Tennessee this week. I think it's very appropriate that you're going to get those 2 teams this week. Tennessee.
What a huge game.
Yeah, Tennessee, it feels like I'm almost waiting for them to trip up a little bit.
Yeah.
And
they're kind of new on the scene.
Yeah, because they're new on the scene.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like every week they continue to almost get better. That to defeat Kentucky 44-6. Kentucky?
Yeah.
Kentucky's no slouch.
They're good.
44-6. They beat them so bad.
Mark Stoops defense.
They beat them so bad they had to fire their offensive coordinator. But here's my issue with Tennessee. And nobody talks about it.
Teams fire their OC?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
You can do that. Don't be fooled. Tennessee is one of the worst teams in the nation at stopping the pass.
Mm-hmm.
One of the worst. When I mean one of the worst, I mean like 125th in the nation.
Well, what did Anthony Richardson throw for 350?
Yeah, he had his way.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, I mean, he does that to everybody, but
Yeah.
don't let that loss distract you from the fact that Bryce Young played fantastic.
Yeah, he did.
They cannot stop the pass. And at the beginning of the year, and I know maybe they're a different team than they were at the beginning of the year, they were lucky to beat Pitt, who's not a great ACC team this year.
Right.
So that's why it's like I'm kind of still.
There's chinks in the armor.
There's chinks in the armor, and I think they can be exploited. If they see a team like Ohio State that could pass the ball around the field, I mean, they have the two best receivers in the nation, maybe. Marvin Harrison Jr., my God, is he good?
Yeah.
And they're going to get Njigba back eventually.
He's the best.
And he's probably even better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
He is, yeah.
I think
that dude is healthy.
Yeah.
He's on.
So we'll see if they can move the ball a lot like that against Georgia's defense. But for right now, I need one more week before I decide what I think about Tennessee.
Okay.
I know it's an easy answer, but Alabama, I think, is still really good, right? I don't think we fault them that much. And then I think Clemson has a lot of cracks in the armor, actually.
I do too. Yeah.
That's why I think Clemson's a pretender.
Well, when you bench your quarterback, your starting quarterback, you can say what you want. You can say he's the guy, Dabo did, and everything else, but he's not. If you got to bench your starting quarterback to win a game, he's not the guy. He's not that guy. And DJ's he's a very talented player, but he's very, very streaky, and he can be extremely inaccurate at times. That will cost you against really, really good teams.
And I think this week, this is an underrated game. They got Notre Dame this week.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame
coming off a big win
is starting to play much better football under Marcus Freeman.
They are.
I don't think Clemson could take this game lightly. I really don't. I mean, Syracuse pushed them around for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And then Syracuse got blown off the map by Notre Dame. So I just don't think that's an easy game for Clemson. I could see them losing. I just don't think they're as strong offensively this year as in past years. Their defense is great, but I don't think the offense can hold up.
All right, so we'll see what happens tonight in the top 25. And the only Florida team that's going to be ranked is UCF. That's probably true. Who I want so bad in a bowl game. So bad. I want to beat your ass so bad in a bowl game.
Let's be real here. UCF won't be ranked tonight. They're 25 in the AP poll. The college football rankings, I mean,
whatever.
I bet they have Tulane at like 24 or 25.
We'll see.
For no reason.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, is going to join us, and we're going to talk about how the Bucs get out of this funk. And does it happen this week against the Rams? I think it does. I think it does. For some reason, I just feel the winds of change are coming. I may be crazy. TJ Rives will join us next. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and the Jeeves Law Group. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. And also the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES, JeevesLawGroup.com. If you have an issue with your insurance company, make sure you give them a call. Also, Italiano Insurance. Hey, folks, if you're having issues with your homeowner's insurance because of you have a claim or something from the hurricane, you just have some questions, so feel free to call them, 813-877-7799. Even if they're not your insurance agent, they should be, because they give such great customer service. That's the whole thing. They answer the phone. I've been over there many times. They have great folks working upstairs there that will walk you through it. Of course, they do a lot of my insurance products as well, and they're just so friendly and helpful. And it's so, we don't know crap about insurance, right? Go to the professionals. They answer all your questions. And 64% of us are underinsured at our home, especially now because values have gone up. So make the call them and make sure that you are protected, because if, God forbid, we get a hurricane here that hits us directly and you're underinsured by tens of thousands of dollars, that's money you got to make up. So don't let that happen to you. How would you like to explain that to your wife, huh? Sorry, honey, I didn't call the Italiano Insurance to make sure we had enough insurance, so now we could buy about half the house we used to have. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. 813-877-7799. Shop your business insurance as well, because they can save you a lot of money in that regard. As we wait for TJ Rives to join us here. There he is. What's up, my friend? Happy Halloween. How were the twins last night? They're all grown up?
We are all good. They are grown up. We have survived another Halloween. It's always good to be with you. I'll give you the action photo that was not allowed at their order to be on social media. However, the FanStream JP audience will get to see that is Kate Bishop, I'm told, from the Marvel movies, who's Hawkeye's sidekick. I know nothing about this. I don't watch the Hawkeye movies. And that is a nurse. So we were a nurse and we were Kate Bishop last night trick-or-treating. The decision was made on Sunday evening that we decided, okay, we're going to have costumes and outfits. And there we go. We survived. And I did send you the photo.
You gotta have it. Yes.
Did young Nick see the best of photos, the one that they say, oh, you're embarrassing me? And I'm like, no, I've not yet begun.
Here it is. I'll show
to embarrass you. Here you go. Right here. There's the peanut butter and jelly photo from 10 years ago. And those are actual, for the audience that can't see us, those are actual Baskin-Robbins ice cream drums. 5-pound Baskin-Robbins ice cream drums that we cleaned up, hacked out the armholes, and that's the lids on their heads. There in that photo. 10 years ago, that Halloween photo is still undefeated for the Twins at this point.
Spectacular.
Yes, trick-or-treating at its finest. And now I have an issue. I got to ship you guys some candy because we have too much from what we were going to give out left over and what they collected, and I need it out of the house because they don't really eat candy, and that means I'm going to start eating it. So I have to export. I have to export at this point.
Take it out, put it in your car, and go somewhere. And of course, you can't give away candy now. And these days, people won't take it. Whatever. All right. So I'm bringing you on today.
Yes.
To find solutions, is I really feel that this is the most critical game of the season. I think this game decides where this season goes. You got the mini bye. Here come the Rams. They're struggling as well. But a win in this situation just gets you going. And there's been time for them to sort out some things. And I still believe they have the talent on this team, and they get a lot of guys back. Ryan Jensen may be back soon. We don't know what a game changer that would be. So I'm all about solutions in the TJ portion of the show. So
I'm with you. Look, you know that I am compromised. I want them to win every game.
Of course.
And so I believe going in, they're going to win every game. I'm also a realist. So if you look at the last 6 weeks where you've lost 5 of 6 games, you're down. The count is maybe 8 in the boxing metaphor, if not 9 on the season, but you got a chance to get up. You got a chance to get up and do something here, get off the mat figuratively and do something here. And that's what you have to look at. And I was just thinking when you were saying that, I think for a lot of Buccaneer fans, they're tired of hearing about we have to coach it better. We have to play, better. We have to put them in a better position. Everything's on the table because sooner or later that's got to translate into being better for 4 quarters and winning a game. And we really thought that was maybe going to be the Baltimore game.
Right.
And it was not for 4 quarters. I will submit, I'm not making excuses. If they had played, I was there for both games. If they had played that first quarter in Carolina where you're up 10-0 or 14-0 or whatever you would have been up by, Carolina quits in that game. They're ready to quit. Now, they played with a lot of heart Sunday in Atlanta, but this team is better than Atlanta. This team is better than Carolina. This team is better than New Orleans from a talent standpoint on both sides of the ball. They're better than both of those teams, all 3 of those teams. So I believe if you had started the Carolina game, the Evans catch or not, with drives, touchdowns, getting the stops, Shaq Barrett being everywhere on defense like it was, you would have won that game by 3 or 4 touchdowns in Carolina. Instead, you lose a game. Can't change that. We can have that argument for another 15 minutes about what would have happened. So now you get the start against Baltimore, and the difference is Baltimore made adjustments, and Baltimore understood we can run the ball and run the ball effectively, and until the Buccaneers demonstrate they can stop us from running the ball, we're going to keep doing it. And they wore the Buc defense down, and you guys have been over all this. So now you've had, as you've mentioned, a full weekend to digest this, to get healthier, and to get back on the practice field. And I think it's fair to say, if you're not going to turn it on now at home against a banged-up Rams team, maybe they've had your number, which they've had over the last couple seasons, but if you don't turn it on this week, if not now, when? When are you going to be able to turn it on? I think that's fair. I think that's fair, guys.
So, all right. So with that in mind, how do we get it done? How do the Bucs get it done? What changes this week? I think first and foremost, and I hate to put, so much on Tom Brady, but I just really believe that he has not been playing as well as he can play. And I do believe that this finality in his personal life, and Halloween is here, his kids were here, he understands where he's headed, and they ain't canceling these games. You got to go out there in front of God and everybody and play. So you might as well start playing your ass off and forcing everyone around you to follow you like he's done his entire career. We've counted out Tom Brady for the past 4 or 5 years, and maybe even longer than that. And what happens? That dude keeps proving everybody wrong. And while in my eyes see like, okay, this is not good, I still think it's fixable. I think it's really, really fixable in a lot of different ways. And so, I think he can do it. Will he do it? We'll see. But I think he can do it.
And so these are the questions that we have to get an answer to over the course of the next few weeks, something you have put out there and everybody else is talking about. Are we finally physically at the end and from the ability to play the position at the end? And how much is left here in terms of him being in terms of being 45, in terms of obviously getting rattled early on in games and missing guys that are open, missing with throws, or missing not seeing guys that are open? That has been a problem. So are we at the end? Are we close to the end? Let's bear in mind, all right, let's keep perspective, that we really looked at after the 2020 season, didn't we? As anything else is a bonus now after you've won the Super Bowl. You got away with it in being a 43-year-old. Now we're almost spoiled, right? We're almost greedy. We want this
last year.
We want this at age 45, and sooner or later you're not the same guy anymore on being able to pull it off. But I'm with you. Don't count him out. Again, we've seen others count him out before, and I think you really have to take a strong look at whether or not that from a game plan standpoint, are you making the right adjustments? I mean, one of the things you and I were talking about kind of off the air and in the back and forth is he wants that ball out of his hand quickly right now. He's rattled. All right. So we went to the Buccaneers, went to the wide receiver screen a bunch in the game with Baltimore. Well, by the fourth time and the fifth time in the same game that you're using that, teams are onto it. They get paid too. They're studying you. They're watching you. So let's see if they come up with some creative differences here. They were trying some different things with putting Rashad White and Leonard Fournette in the backfield at the same time. Yep. That's a good difference. You've tried to run the jet sweep a little bit here and there the last 2 or 3 weeks. You can make an argument, why are you handing it to Julio Jones as that guy on the jet sweep versus some of the others? So they are trying some different things. Let's see about the adjustments. I love your attitude of Brady's been counted out before. Let's see him make some throws. Let's see him make some plays. I think another big part of this is you have got to be better in your own self-scout on what are we doing to give away run plays, formation-wise, from the look, and what we're doing, how Brady's standing, how offensive linemen are standing. We're running out of a 2 tight end formation, maybe a lot more than what we are throwing in that formation and teams have figured stuff out. Yeah. So you've got to help yourself, not just blocking up front, but from a scheme standpoint, to run the ball better. You've got to adjust to the adjustments that have been made on being able to run the ball some. This team is never, it's obvious now in 2022, they're never going to be a power running football team, but it's got to be adequate. We know that it's got to be adequate, and that can be better. So if you're looking for a couple of things, the game plan, the adjustments, and you got to make some throws when they are there, something that we've seen a bunch from this team.
And you mentioned not being wanted to count out Brady, and I don't want to be that guy that just puts him out to the dust and just says he can't do it anymore. But every athlete, every great athlete, there comes a time where you can't overcome everything. You just can't. You're not superhuman. And it's not like there's 1 or 2 things that have gone wrong here. I went down, all the Bucs issues, and I asked myself, what do they do well? And the one thing I could tell you that I know they do well is they kick field goals.
I heard you saying that. Ryan Suckup leads the league in scoring. That's the thing they've done the best. Exactly.
It's not exactly a recipe for winning football. So, do you think, we're already 8 games in the season. We're halfway. Do you still think that a lot of these issues are fixable?
I think that some of them are fixable in season. I mean, one thing that you guys were talking about Friday after the game, I'm sure you were talking about it some before I came on here and even yesterday, is defense. Defense tightening up against the run, defensive effort running to the football. That's got to be better. Hopefully that point got across. I know you've well documented it. I saw the social media stuff everywhere, including Warren Sapp pointing it out. Let's hope that got across. So that's effort is fixable. Effort and attitude is fixable. And some of it may be take away playing time where you can with take away playing time. Yes, there are some fixable things on the offense, in particular on second down and third down, with some of these situations where, again, in the second quarter and the third quarter, you tend to get into a lull where you don't convert, you don't sustain a drive. And that's part of why you haven't run the football at all, is they haven't sustained drives.
Right.
And so you don't go back to 1st and 10 handed off or 2nd and short handed off because you've punted and you're playing defense. So I like where you're headed with the optimism. I don't think it's an overstatement that the season is very much on the line right now to not be 3-6. However, I have come bearing statistics, as JP loves. Nick loves the numbers.
Yes.
You love insight. You love whatever.
Hit me.
Whatever it is that I bring. I'm not sure what I'm bringing today, but I'm trying. Maybe I need a Butterfinger candy bar because I've got 16 of them in the other room, and I don't need to eat all 16. Nonetheless, 2 years ago, the Washington football team, now known as the Washington Commanders, they were 2-7 in a bad NFC East. 2-7, kids. They won 4 games in a row to get to 6-7, if you remember, in that bad year with the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles.
Yeah.
They then lost the next 2 games in December, supposedly dead, at 6-9. Yet the division was so bad they hung around. They won the final game of the year with the Eagles, who were firing Doug Peterson and were petering out. The Cowboys lost on the final day to the Giants.
That's right.
And a 7-9 Washington football team walked through the door. There's an example of, even in a bad season, in a bad division, you keep playing. They were 2-7 and kept playing, and it worked out. 2014 Carolina Panthers. This is the first year of Lovie Smith here. That year, the NFC South was awful. Drew Brees was bad. The Falcons were bad. The Buccaneers were a 2-win Buccaneer team. The Carolina Panthers were 3-8-1. 3-8-1 going into the end of the regular season with 4 games to go, and they won all 4 of the games, including beating the Saints, including beating the Buccaneers, including burying the Falcons on the final day of the season.
Yep.
And by doing so, they won the division by half a game. After being 3-8-1, they finished 7-8-1. The only thing that I'm saying to you with 2 recent examples is, for the love of all that is holy, in the name of John McKay and Leroy Selman and any other great Buccaneer, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Mike Allstott, just get me to like 5 or 6 wins by the end of this season when you're playing Arizona, Carolina, and Atlanta.
Yes.
If you are in range with a 5th, a 6th win for those ending 3 games, you got a really good shot of winning, especially head-to-head with Atlanta in the final game. You've got a great shot to win the division with an 8th or 9th win at the very end. You just got to get to 5 or 6 or 7 by the time you get there, boys. So there's a little math on a Tuesday on FanStream, JP.
And if you're playing well at Thanksgiving, which is coming up in 3-4 weeks, so get your turkeys in the oven. You got a shot, and that's what Brady has always said. We look back even on these Brady. Even the Super Bowl team was 7-5 and had some really bad
That's
moments.
right.
And that's why I think so much of this is fixable. Now, the loss of Shaq Barrett is a big deal, obviously, and
Huge.
they're going to have to find a way to create some pressure, and maybe just this change of having to be more of a pressure team will help this team. I know this, that everything is on the table this week, and there's going to be changes. We don't know until we see the game on Sunday. I hope part of that change is that Todd Bowles becomes more aggressive defensively. He's always been a high blitz guy. I think we've gone away from that a little bit this year. And I'd like to see the offense just be more varied. And that, to me, that means Brady has to trust some of these guys that he's not trusting. Scotty Miller, Rashad White, Cade Otton. I mean, it's getting better, but he's got to open up the offense, the stuff that's not Godwin and Evans. And I think he realizes that. I think the whole team realizes that. And hopefully we'll see some different stuff this week. You think we will?
And that's the hope. And keep another point in mind here as a reference to that 2020 season. That year, the defense was getting riddled every which direction, as we remember. Drew Brees barbecued the Bucs in that Sunday night game in the pandemic year with very few fans in the stands. And then, of course, Kansas City and Mahomes and Tyreek Hill followed it up. He had 200 yards receiving in the first quarter. And remember, that year, all the questions were, this team is done defensively. And then look at what happened after the bye week. You figured some things out. You tightened up. And you can make the argument that as much as Brady was carrying things offensively, it was the defensive turnaround, especially in the postseason, opportunistic with turnovers. Can I ask on a Tuesday morning on the FanStream JP show, where have the takeaways gone? That's another thing to hone in on that's got nothing to do with TB12 and the offense. You left it 4 weeks ago playing against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, when Logan went down, there went the turnovers.
You have been a turnover takeaway machine on defense, and you've played 4 games without taking it away once. You got to get back to sack fumbles, strip it out of there on run plays, get some takeaways going, because that's one of the successful ways the Bucs have won. And that's gone away, and that has nothing to do with the offense or Byron Leftwich. Look, you've been in this town, and I have too, for a long, long time. And the two easiest things are clobber the quarterback and fire the coach or the offensive coordinator. I get that everybody wants to put the blame squarely at the feet of the offensive coordinator and the quarterback not playing well enough, but help yourself on defense. Get back to the takeaways. It's going to be hard without Shaq Barrett. And what we don't know as we sit here live Tuesday morning, are they going to make a trade for someone that can maybe help bolster the pass rush? I don't know that answer. We don't know that answer. I know this after that game on Thursday night, because I stood and watched it. I get the privy of seeing these things. Jason Light was on the text going every which direction, and I figured that was with some other teams. What can we do? His own team. People are probably calling and inquiring and asking about players on his own team. Let's just see. Is there a move? I don't know. Is there somebody in personnel that can bolster this team? We'll find out.
I mean, you mentioned getting takeaways. The thing is, though, it's not like they're dropping interceptions, right? I don't even recall one going off their hands. And it's just, when things are going bad, it just seems like you can't buy a wet football, a slippery football. You can't buy anything. You can't buy a tip and nothing, right?
Pressure and physicality creates.
There you go.
Yeah, and they've gotten really none of that.
Well, your guy, Rondé Barber, said it for so many years. The reason I got all those takeaways and these DBs got those takeaways is because Warren Sapp and Booger McFarland and Greg Spires and Simeon Rice were killing the quarterback on a regular basis. We were putting them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and they're hurrying throws and throwing the ball right to us. And there hasn't been enough of that to this point in this segment of the season. Let's see how they manufacture it without Shaq Barrett. But yeah, you're right. You got to make some of this is you got to make your own with stripping it out of there.
We'll throw you the ball.
I was about to go to that. He's thrown 8 interceptions this year. We know he's not leaving the pocket. I mean, the only bright spot I think for this game, if you want to be optimistic, I mean, the Rams, they're starting running backs like Ronnie Rivers, I think is his name.
It's bad.
I mean, they're the only team that's a little bit, they're 31st, I think, in the league in running, and the Bucs are 32. So I guess
horrible on third down.
Exactly.
Part of it is their offensive line. Part of it is teams have figured out how they run, and you got to adjust the adjustments. All those things go into the pot. But I'm talking about strip the ball out of there. We saw Logan Ryan do it in the Superdome. Levante David is great at it. Whoever's got to get a hand in there to get a ball out and get a takeaway, get them in 2nd and long and 3rd and long where he rushes a throw and throws it right to a DB. You may even take a couple of gambles and a couple of risks on interceptions, jumping a route or whatever. Do something to jumpstart the takeaways that have evaporated over the last 4 games.
All right, college football, man. You call college football games on the weekend. We got our first playoff rankings coming out tonight.
What do you? I haven't heard you. What do you boys have? You got Tennessee 1. You got Tennessee 1 and Georgia 2.
3, Bama 4. Clemson as the undefeated's out.
So you would have Alabama 4 even with the loss.
I think those are the likely suspects. What do you got?
I would have Tennessee 1, I would have Ohio State 2, I would have Georgia 3, and I would have Michigan 4 for now. And then obviously Tennessee, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State play each other, so this is all going to play out. Alabama is the team lurking, but that is a dangerous game. I worked the LSU game a year ago. Ed Orgeron was basically on his way out, but they were 28-point underdogs. And the Bulls' son, Max Johnson, was the quarterback, and they hung right in with Alabama. Now this is at home. This is a night game. That's going to be tough for Alabama, whose defense was better.
Hey, how do you feel about Clemson though? Because we were talking about them. I think they're the biggest pretender right now in the top 6.
Probably out of the unbeatens. I would put them even. Yeah. I agree. I would put them behind TCU now out of the unbeatens. They got
Notre Dame this weekend, and Notre Dame's starting to play much better football. I don't think it's out of the realm to think.
I like what you're thinking. There will be some teams that will fall off, and that Tennessee-Georgia game, my goodness, that is some showdown. But keep in mind, whoever wins is likely still playing Alabama. They may get like a one-loss Ole Miss team, but they're likely playing Alabama in the SEC title game. And Georgia saw this movie last year where they ran the table in the East, but then they lost to Alabama in the championship game. I know this, the winner of Tennessee-Georgia essentially has a cushion because at that point, you're going to likely be in the SEC title game as the 1 or the 2 team in the country, the number 1 or number 2 unbeaten team in the country, where you could maybe even lose the SEC title game again and still get in the college football playoff. Stay tuned. We'll see. Those are going to be some great games this weekend.
Who's getting the Auburn job? Deion Sanders?
Oh, my gosh. And what about Lane Kiffin?
On the plains?
I mean, between Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders, and Hugh Freeze, that's crazy. And I will work the Alabama-Auburn Iron Bowl. And by the way, can we just say bravo that Cadillac Williams gets the chance to be the interim coach with his love for that school. Yes. They're going to let him try it here for a month. I know they're in shambles, but good on Cadillac, who started at the high school level down at IMG Academy in Sarasota, coaching some, and then Gus Malzahn brought him up to Auburn as the running backs coach. Love Cadillac. Cadillac unbeaten in his career against Alabama, by the way. Never lost to him. Cadillac, JP, as you remember, I saw that quote you put on social media. Cadillac's entire family is Roll Tide, is Alabama. He's the only Auburn anything out of his whole family. Yes. So I'm sharing some wisdom. So the old Iron Bowl got a little more spicy because of Cadillac. I don't know that Auburn has anything left in the tank, but good for Cadillac Williams that he gets the chance as the interim coach. I love it.
So you always come on and tell the great stories. So I'm going to flip the script here and tell one on you.
Please.
This is when I was doing sidelines for Channel 8 preseason. Of course, we get to interview the players on the sideline in the preseason because you don't get to do that. So I got Cadillac Williams, and it was like his second or third year, and there was stories going around of his incredible workouts in the off season. He was because he had a knee injury or a foot injury, and he was was coming back and he was ready to go. So I asked him, I said, Cadillac, I mean, I read your workouts this summer, the workouts, you were just incredible. Like, tell us what that workout was all about. What it was like. And he goes, man, I my balls off.
And how big did your eyes get as you were doing that live interview for tens of thousands to watch and hear?
And I said, wow, that's quite the work ethic. I'm pretty sure you didn't get that from your mom. I did not say that. What I did say, though, after when I threw it back to Chris, and they were, I could hear him laughing in the freaking, I could hear Chris.
Oh, God, yes.
You go, and I'm like, well, guys, that's one hell of a work ethic that Cadillac has that I'm definitely not going to try. Back to you. And Chris couldn't hold it. He lost it. Chris Myers lost it at that point. But that was the quote of the year.
Hey, he is a tremendous. He is a tremendous guy. I'll add to your story that we did an event inside the facility. We couldn't do these for a while because of the COVID-19 restrictions, and they still, from time to time, they have sponsors come in and do events with players. So this was like a chalk talk thing, and I'm with him, and they're showing up on the big, and this is the meeting room where the Bucs meet, and they have the big press conferences in the big meeting room where the whole team can meet, and they've got that massive video screen behind them. So we're showing a run play, and we're showing how the run play goes from the practice field and into a game and what you have to work on. So Cadillac's got the laser pointer out. This is the same punchline that you have. And he says, let me tell you what I'm looking for. And the crowd's getting all into it because these are fans. These are sponsors and fans. He goes, let me tell you what I'm looking for. And he looks at me and he goes, can I cuss? And I said, yes. He goes, I'm looking at his ass. I'm looking at that blocking guy's ass, and I'm following his ass through the hole. And everybody's hooting and hollering and cheering in the room. And I'm like, oh, if this ever gets out, and now I'm getting it out 10 years later that this gets out. But it was tremendous. That's just kind of the way he is. And you get the feeling that some players may rally around him at Auburn. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Alabama may beat him by 50 points. The game is at Alabama. at the end of the year. But good on Cadillac that he gets the chance. That's his alma mater. Good on him that he gets a chance as the interim coach. And I know if he was here with you, his love and allegiance is to the Buccaneers. He would say, hang in there, Buccaneer fans. Let's see if it can get better.
Absolutely. And I don't know if Auburn's equipped as a program, and I don't know if Dion would even want to go there. But Dion seems to be the hottest name in coaching, and I see why. I mean, the interview he did last week on College Game Day, he's charisma personified. That dude,
of course.
In a time,
but you know what he's waiting on. He wanted the Florida State job before. He's waiting on the Florida State opportunity. I really believe.
I don't know, man. I think there's some bad blood there now.
Well, maybe there is because they didn't hire him and didn't consider him. I don't know.
Well,
you have more insight than me.
And that's the thing. They really, this was coming out of the Willie Taggart situation where they had just, FSU just got taken for $28 million for 18 months work by their own fault, by the way, because clearly, Willie love Willie as a person, but he just wasn't ready for that gig. And they wanted someone who was more established, who had been coaching. And to this point, Dion had never coached college football before.
That's correct.
I think after 2 years at Jackson State, people understand that he's committed to coaching now. He doesn't want to go to the NFL because he said he would kill somebody with these players. So I think he's a viable candidate with NIL, his ability to recruit, major businesses and corporations. I think wherever he goes, he's going to be a superstar, and the talent's going to follow. And
watch him end up back because he's still in Dallas, in and around Texas. Watch him end up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, maybe with a college job somehow, some way. Maybe that's another tie.
I don't think Auburn is the one.
It's not a fit. That is not a fit.
I don't think it's a good fit. The boosters are too up in that stuff. They're just, right. And I don't think
they would view him as a Florida State guy. As an outsider.
I agree.
By the way, I just remembered this, and I believe you were there. Gene was on the call. Sugar Bowl, Auburn, Florida State.
1988.
Deion Sanders clinched the game against Auburn with an interception. Am I correct, JP Peterson?
Not only did he clinch it, he baited him into it. He left his guy, and I forget his name, 85 for Auburn, left him wide open in the end zone, trailing him by like 3 or 4 yards. He was just like, watch this. And that pass went up, and I remember watching Dion. I go, he's got it. And he closed and took that ball away. It was pure bait. It was the quarterback's eyes got so big, and he threw that ball, and Dion just went.
Look at me putting JP in a good mood on his own show, reminiscing about Florida State Auburn in the Sugar Bowl, 88 or 89.
Wearing those pearly whites, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Baby. All right, brother. Tell everybody where they can find your content, my friend.
So, again, we're going to go back at it with Buccaneers and Rams. Find us on Buccaneers Radio. Sunday, 3:30 is the pregame. 4:30 is kick time. Interesting, this is a CBS game because CBS grabbed the games under the new rules. Fox and CBS can alternate and grab a game every once in a while because of major markets. So this is Jim Nantz and Tony Romo that are doing the game on CBS, even though it's an NFC game. For the Bucs and the Rams. We'll have the call on Buccaneers Radio with the Hall of Famer, Mean Gene Deckerhoff, Dave Moore. Nothing But Bucs podcast after it's over. And then I think I'll get to talk to you, but if I don't, Guten Tag from Germany is right after that. We go to Germany later next week and go play the Seahawks in Germany.
When do you leave?
I believe we leave on Thursday. I got to check the itinerary. I think we're leaving Thursday afternoon.
Okay, cool.
And off to Germany for the game with the Seahawks. And welcome to the crazy NFL, where we thought at the beginning of the year the Bucs would be rolling by this time and the Seahawks would be terrible. And just like we thought, the Seahawks are in first place and the Buccaneers are scrambling, trying to get above 500. So
crazy league. Yes. All right, brother. Appreciate your time as always.
Always good to be with you. Let's see if it is better. I have hope from the JP show that it can be better. In TB12, we trust with the personal stuff behind him that it can be better. Let's see what happens, boys. Go get some takeaways, defense. Takeaways.
Let's effing go. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Jeeves Law Group here in our second hour. Quick break. We'll come back with a couple of key things for the Lightning tonight as they are back home in Emily Arena. Stay with us.
Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. By the way, the 2022 Florida Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony is coming up at Raymond James Stadium. I will be emceeing said ceremony tomorrow night at Raymond James Stadium. Looking forward to that. November 2nd, you can be a part of it. The Raymond James Stadium East Club is going to be open for this induction, and Florida's biggest and brightest stars will be there. The Lightning's Vinny LeCavalier is going in. World Series hero Luis Gonzalez from here in Tampa. Bucs Super Bowl MVP Dexter Jackson. Sportscaster Pam Oliver. FSU All-American Barry Smith, my good buddy. Golf's Fred Ridley, and so many more will be there. Being enshrined, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm working on all my questions right now for the interviews that I'll be doing with them. So if you want to be part of it, there's going to be a big cocktail reception, heavy hors d'oeuvres, so you get food, great silent auction, the enshrinement ceremony that's going to have a lot of great moments in it. It's going to be an unforgettable evening. So just join us Wednesday, November 2nd, Raymond James. Go to floridasportshof.org to purchase your tickets, and it's presented by Fanatics and Morgan & Morgan. That's floridasportshof.org. It could be a fun evening for you if you would like to join us, for sure. All right, so the Lightning tonight are welcoming in the Ottawa Senators as the Lightning start a run of 9 games, and their next 11 will be at home. So a lot of home cooking here. They come off the road trip, West Coast, with a winning record. And that's good. You're banking points, and now you can get healthy at home. They're one of the best teams in the league at Amalie Arena. Our great fans will be there, so I'm looking forward to it, to watch the continued success of Brandon Hagel and watch his team continue to get better.
Yeah, and it's been a long time since you've been able to say that you're excited to see them play the Senators.
Yes.
A team that has started to add a lot of pieces, turn it around. And, you know, we talked about the improvement of the East as a whole. Only one team, I don't know if I mentioned it yesterday with Eric or not, but just one team in the Eastern Conference under 500.
Yeah.
One. And only
Columbus,
three that have a negative goal differential in the Eastern Conference. I mean, that's crazy. The Eastern Conference is leaps and bounds ahead of the West.
It's loaded.
And that's what's facing the Lightning this season. But so I think this
Every
stretch
point's
here,
going to matter.
this stretch here, we're going to find out, I think, who the Lightning are.
Yeah, so here comes Ottawa tonight. They're 4-4. They've lost their last 2, I believe.
Yep.
And they are they're 0-3 on the road too. So they have not yet won away from home. Their goal differential is they're actually a +3.
Yeah.
in goal
But
differential.
the Lightning are even, I believe.
I think they were +3. No. Where are the Lightning?
Right there.
There
Yeah,
they are.
even.
Yeah, they're even. But they've won 2 in a row, and let's see, Ottawa. They got Giroux. They've definitely changed, and
They've got this rookie, Shane Pinto. Shane Pinto has been their best player so far. Obviously, Brady Tkachuk, another one. Josh Norris, one of their young guys, went on the shelf, so he's probably out for the season. Thomas Chabot, really good defenseman. There's a lot of young talent there, and they think they can win now. So the Lightning are going to get the best of them tonight.
Yeah, they're coming off a loss to the Panthers. What was the final in that game? 5. My court. Look at this.
5-3.
5-3. 5-3 was the final. So, all right. So here we go with the Lightning tonight, and I'm going to be a very busy man this week.
Yeah, I wanted to put a real quick note here on college football again, because y'all were talking about Deion Sanders and just how good it would be, how it would work. I mean, the other thing too, it's like, imagine being like a cornerback or like a secondary, and you're a young kid. Everybody knows Deion Sanders is, even in this generation, and he comes into your house. You mean to tell me that ain't Travis Hunter is a great example.
Got Travis Hunter to go to Jackson State.
And we've mentioned it. He could have picked anybody of those top recruits, but he had to pick the one that was going to Florida State, which I truly believe was out of spite.
Jerk.
Yeah. I don't know how Travis Hunter is doing in Jackson State, but
nobody's
seeing it.
Nobody sees it. That's a shame for the kid. And that was weird, and he can, Deion's all about the money.
Yeah.
He's all about the money. Always has been about the money. And, if this is true that the kid turned down, $4, $5, $6 million and went to Jackson State for nothing, that's not great for the kid.
And the other note that I had real quick
Or his
was you were talking about Tennessee and Alabama, how they're going to, or Tennessee and Georgia, they're going to have to play Alabama anyway. And, I don't know how you feel about divisions in college football, but there's no rule anymore that tells you that you have to have divisions. There's no rule anymore for it. Nope. And I think there's no need for it, because now it's like, I hate to be the SEC homer here, but the fact that they now have to go play like a team like that, because that's the other side of the division. But then I'm looking at like the Big Ten, Ohio State or Michigan.
You have to play Illinois.
Purdue.
It's a joke.
Clemson's going to get tested by who? North Carolina.
You got to change that.
I mean,
I don't have loaded divisions. It just screws everything up.
All by geography. We're putting people in divisions by geography.
We're adding USC and UCLA to the Big Ten.
Oh my goodness!
At the same time, it makes no sense. It all needs to be overhauled.
It needs to all be overhauled. End of story.
But and obviously the playoffs going to expand in a couple of years, so it'll get better. It'll get better, but I think right now we're in a flux. We're in the flux capacitor part. It's just total chaos. But you know what? We got some good football teams and some new blood.
It's been a damn good year of college football.
There's some new blood, and I think you're going to see some new blood in the playoff again. We had Cincinnati last year. Didn't work out so well, but I think we're going to see some new blood, and I think there's a little bit more parity at the top. I think those top 6 teams,
TCU.
Maybe,
TCU, please.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Our big thanks to Scott Reynolds today, TJ Rives, who joined us. Great job, Nick Geddes. We will be back tomorrow to wrap up the Lightning stuff. Brian Bradley's going to join us tomorrow, so we'll have a lot of hockey talk tomorrow. And also in advance of the Florida Sports Hall of Famer, hope to have a bunch of the Hall of Famers on tomorrow for a big Hall of Fame show. Florida Sports Hall of Fame tomorrow night, floridasportshof.org if you want to get those tickets. And we will be at the Lightning game tonight. We will see you there. Go Bolts.